Hey guys, here I have a new Escalation Tier 10 run. This is Lincoln Memorial. I know it's an easier mission, but I heard that you guys want to see more commented runs. So yeah, here's a new commented run. This is the build that I'm going to be using. It's pretty much the same one that I always use. Military MK46 with critical hit chance and critical hit damage mods. Agitator, quick step, a 4-piece striker with the backpack and the chest piece. As you can see, 1-piece Sheska, almost got roll with crit damage and chance, and the Exodus gloves for solo play. And I'm using the seasonal modifier. Right now, I'm using a new build from a user called Dev1L432. He recommended me to use this build right here. I changed the last passive modifier to Worst Cascade, and I'm using Saturate Utility to get more stacks. So yeah, that should lower the cooldown for the active modifier, and I'm also getting more magazine size than what I was already using. So yeah, shout out to them for the seasonal build. And yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So for this beginning encounter, I like to stick to the upper side of the scenario. It's a little bit small, the enemy spawns can be very scary, but here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna throw an overcharge decoy on the center, and I'm gonna prioritize the enemies that are coming from the right. If the enemies get too close, even if you have the decoy out, they'll start focusing on you. Like it's this weird like focus that they have for targets that are way too close to them. And I need to use the columns on the entrance so that I don't get to cut line of sight with some of the enemies, especially if they have anchor or something like that. And right now the run is going pretty good, but if you ever get in a sticky situation, you can either run over here and start taking cover without having to give up the upper part of the scenario, or you could even go over here and start shooting them from the back of the room. But most of the time I just have to stick over here. So yeah, I can start interacting with the laptop and we can go towards the next room. So for next room, we're gonna be throwing another overcharge decoy. They have a longer duration and a lower cooldown than a normal tier 0 decoy we have on this build. I like to blow up the red barrel just in case there's an enemy nearby so that they can get a status effect and they're not able to shoot me. So all of the enemy waves are gonna be spawning the first one right over there on the right. So I want to make sure that I keep the enemy's number down so that I can camp that spawn like this, pretty much. Just wait for the enemies and start shooting at them. And then right after the second enemy spawn from this part of the room, more enemies are gonna be spawning on the back over there, right where I am aiming that door. Again, this is like heroic mission design, so yeah, the spawns are gonna be exactly the same. And even the strategy is pretty much similar to like a normal heroic Lincoln run that most people are already familiar with, so yeah. Only this time you gotta be more careful. So, you can go to the next room, and for this part I like to throw again overcharge decoy and hide over here so I can take care of the first wave of enemies. I start moving to see if I can get a glimpse of more enemies. So there's a grenadier enemy, gotta be careful with line of sight so that he doesn't shoot me with the grenade launcher. And he has anchor, so I want to wait a little bit until I blow up his backpack. Otherwise it's gonna be pretty easy for him to put me on fire. Normally I wouldn't be fighting on the lower floor of this place. I like to go to the second floor and fight the yellow enemies that spawn on the back of this room. I always throw a decoy to get their attention, and I'll stick to here so I can get a pretty decent line of sight with all enemies. Everyone got stuck here. Take care of them, and I'll get this other one. There's also two RPG guys that spawn with that wave of yellow enemies that I gotta be careful with. Luckily they got stuck on the lower part of the arena, so yeah, should be pretty easy. And once this wave is down to just one enemy, the boss spawns, as always. When they're blind firing, you can evade all fire from yellow enemies by pretty much sticking to cover. They'll never be able to like shoot you like I just did. So yeah, that's a pretty good trick that you can use for escalations. Just be careful with the hot foot bar. And let's search for the last enemy. That's the grenade guy. Oh, I see him. Just shoot their backpack. And there we go. Always like to deal with the grenadier last. Pretty easy to cut line of sight from the second floor. That's why I always prefer that strategy. Gonna grab all of my prototype gear and gonna keep going with the mission. And as usual, having quick step really helps a lot in clearing these missions faster, so always make sure to have it on your gear. For this door, don't use quick step because otherwise you'll get stuck. And let me empty my magazine so that I can use the frenzy talent right as I get inside. So gonna drop another decoy over there, and gonna wait over here to take care of the first wave of enemies. Right as they're down to 2 enemies, we're gonna get a new spawn at the back of the room, and right as we kill one, we're gonna get another spawn on the left side. I like to move over here so that I can protect my line of sight, and I can easily move to flank the other enemies, as well as keep my hot foot bar down. So yeah, it's a pretty quick fight. That's good. Gonna grab my gear and let's keep going. Can open this door. And we can jump from over here so that we can skip the stairs. Now for this next room, all of the enemy spawns are gonna be on the left side of the room. So essentially what I want to keep in mind is that this right side of the room is probably like our best place to fight. Like, if there's a moment where I can like push the enemies, if they don't get like bad mutators, like Anchor, I can probably like start pushing them more towards the left side. But if not, you can stay over here, no problem. And if things get too bad, you can always like push back from the room where we came from. But let's hope it doesn't get down to that. Otherwise the run becomes way too slow, in my opinion. Right, can start playing more aggressive here. Like I said, enemies spawn from the left side, so let me see if I can camp them. Trying to control a little bit the spawns. Also, if the enemies start like taking too much position from the, as I called, the right side of the room, we can go upstairs and pretty much wait for pretty much camp the enemies from over here, like this. Benefit from shooting from the high ground is that even if they're taking cover, it's pretty easy to like shoot them on the head, kill them pretty easily. So yeah, just gotta be careful with the enemy spawns, because they can easily flank you from that door over there. And even though he has an anchor, there's not an enemy nearby, so I'm able to kill him pretty quickly. Great. And there we go. It really depends on like the enemy's modifiers. If you get too many anchors, the room gets pretty slow in my opinion. But at the end of the day, if you survive the fight, then you're good pretty much. Now for this part, the modifier got stuck with the magazine size, that's not good. I like to throw an overcharge decoy right on the middle of the room, and I need to be careful with all the enemies that try to get too close to me. It doesn't matter if you are on the higher ground, those enemies, if they get too close, they'll start aiming at you even if they have a decoy right in front of them. So yeah, gotta be careful with that. There's too many anchors in here, holy crap. Gonna be moving over here. So yeah, what I like about here is that you get a pretty decent line of sight with all of the enemy spawns in this room. And also... Damn, I thought I was able to change the armor plate. You're also able to see the enemy spawn from over there, so yeah. That's what I like about this part. If I peek right now, they're gonna be shooting at me even though there's a decoy right there, so I need to shoot from over here. The shotgun guy should now be targeting me, so I need to put some distance. It should be far away enough that I'm able to kill them. There we go. And we can go back to the part that I'll talk about. Our vantage point, I believe they're called. Gonna keep throwing another decoy so that I don't get targeted by the enemies. These are the ones that are not too close to me. Be careful with this guy. As soon as he gets down those stairs, he will have targeted me. And that should be the last enemy. So I need to go there and kill them. That's the only bad part about this room, is that sometimes some of the enemies get stuck over there, so it can be pretty annoying. Anyways, we can interact with the laptop and we can go right towards the final room. As I said, if the modifiers are not too bad, this can be a pretty consistent sub 13-minute run for Lincoln Memorial. Otherwise it can get a little bit longer, but still a pretty short mission. Wouldn't call it the shortest. I think missions like American History Museum or PCD are pretty good. A bit shorter, but yeah, still a pretty good mission. So I threw the decoy over there so that I could get the attention from the NPCs, and also because that would be within the path that the enemies take, at least the first two bosses. So yeah, pretty nice way to get their attention and try to get some damage into them. Be careful with my anchor, and but I'm getting the reduced magazine size from the modifier, otherwise we'll be doing a bit more damage, but still. And try to keep a Frenzy LMG ready for this part. So if the boss doesn't have anchor, I would suggest that you destroy their backpack so that they cannot use their invulnerability period. Especially if one of the enemies has anchor. Now, if the boss has anchor, focus on the NPCs first, and if the boss enables the invulnerability ability they have, then just throw a decoy and wait for that ability to run out so you can kill them. So yep, that's Lincoln Memorial then. We just have to go over the elevator, and here we go. That's the mission. I'm gonna equip my LMG so they get all the XP for my Augment level, and there we go. So, yep, that was a mission. Let's show just very quickly what prototype gear I got from this. Got a gun, wasn't targeted. Got all these gloves. Some people were asking that they like to see what stuff I was getting, so here you go. Drop rates are pretty decent, I guess. There's like 81 enemies on this level. For a sub 13-minute mission, I think that's okay. And let's just wait for the final banner to show up. There's the shade level banner, and the next one should be the summary. They don't got the summary. Well, anyways, that was Lincoln Memorial Escalation. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you on the next one, guys.